Ever heard of a company claiming to be on the bleeding edge of quantum computing with this revolutionary algorithm, but at the same time, they're struggling to stay afloat financially?
Oh, yeah.
That's the story
Kind of a head scratcher.
of MicroAlgo Inc.
For sure.
And today, we're diving deep into their world.
Yeah, so we're talking about a Cayman Islands exempted company
Right.
operating out of Shenzhen, China, specializing in these central processing algorithms and intelligent chips,
So they're
targeting internet advertising, gaming,
going after some?
the semiconductor sector, but their financials are, well, let's just say they raise some questions.
Yeah, we've got a whole stack of reports, analyses, news articles, you name it, to try to figure out, is MicroAlgo truly riding the quantum wave, or are they about to, wipe out spectacularly?
Yeah.
We'll unpack everything from their financials to their management style and even reveal a surprising connection that could make or break their future.
Oh, wow.
But first, let's break down exactly what MicroAlgo does.
So they have these two core segments to their business. Central processing algorithm services, which is kind of a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
And then intelligent chips and services.
Right.
Essentially, they create custom algorithms for their clients and integrate them into either software or hardware solutions, depending on the need.
So they're kind of like
consultants.
Yeah, you can think of it that way.
Yeah.
The goal is to optimize and boost efficiency for a whole range of industries.
Okay, so it's like having this super-powered brain working behind the scenes to make things run smoother?
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting. They're developing this hybrid algorithm combining classical computing with quantum computing.
Right.
And they're claiming 99% qubit efficiency for something called multi-query optimization problems.
Okay, I have to admit that sounds a little bit like Star Trek.
Yeah,
Can you break that down?
it's pretty cutting-edge stuff.
Yeah.
So imagine you're a logistics company with thousands of delivery trucks on the road.
Finding the absolute most efficient routes for all those trucks, taking into account traffic, weather, delivery windows.
Right.
That's a multi-query optimization problem.
It's a nightmare.
It's massively complex. Now, traditional computers struggle with this kind of optimization on a large scale.
Okay.
But quantum computing, with its ability to process information in a fundamentally different way, can potentially crack these problems wide open.
Wow.
And MicroAlgo is claiming they're at the forefront of this technology.
So 99% qubit efficiency, that's got to be way faster and more efficient than anything else out there.
It's certainly impressive on paper.
Right, but I mean, we were talking about quantum computing.
Right.
This is still super experimental.
You're right to be cautious. It's still early days for quantum computing. Think of it like the Wild West.
Okay.
A lot of potential, but also a lot of unknowns.
So a lot of risks as well.
And MicroAlgo, while ambitious, isn't exactly a lone ranger out there. They're up against giants like IBM and Google who are pouring billions into quantum research.
So it's kind of like a high-stakes race to see who can make this technology work on a practical level first.
Exactly. And not just work, but make money doing it. Which brings us to the question of who's steering the ship at MicroAlgo.
Right. Chapter 2, Management Evaluation. And we've got CEO Min Shu and CFO Lai He at the helm. And they seem to be all in on research and development, reinvesting something like 18% of their revenue back into developing those algorithms.
Yeah.
That sounds
It's
promising.
significant investment. But there's...
You're right. While they're very vocal about their technological achievements, which is understandable, they tend to gloss over their financial challenges.
Okay.
And that lack of transparency makes it hard to gauge their long-term strategy.
Yeah.
Are they truly focused on building a sustainable business, or are they more concerned with generating hype?
So are they more sizzle than steak?
That's the million-dollar question.
Well, let's get into those financial challenges then. Chapter 3, Financial Health Check. And the picture here is, well, it's a mixed bag to say the least. It is. On the one hand, they have a relatively low debt-to-equity ratio, which is generally a good sign. But on the other hand, their earnings and free cash flow are both negative. And if you dig a little deeper, you'll see their revenue actually declined in 2023.
So they're not making money, and their revenue is shrinking. That doesn't sound very sustainable, no matter how cool their algorithms are.
It's certainly a red flag. And to make matters worse, we're seeing some potential issues with their capital allocation. For example, there's this massive buyback yield dilution projected for 2025, over 73%. This basically means that existing shareholders could see their ownership significantly diluted.
Okay, so hold on. Let me see if I understand this. It's like baking a cake and suddenly adding a ton of extra flour.
Right.
Your slice just gets smaller.
Exactly. And that raises concerns about whether they're making the best decisions for their shareholders. It makes you wonder, are they prioritizing short-term gains over long-term sustainability?
Yeah.
It's something to keep in mind as we dig deeper.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we've got innovative technology, a management team with maybe a little bit of a transparency issue and some less than stellar financials.
Right.
What's the market making of all this? Are investors buying into the MicroAlgo story?
Well, that's where things get even more intriguing. Chapter 4, writing the hype wave analyst price targets for 2025 are all over the place,
Really?
ranging from less than $1 to over $16.
Wow.
It's like some analysts see them as the next quantum powerhouse, while others think they're headed for a crash landing.
Yeah, that's a big discrepancy.
Talk about market uncertainty.
Yeah, for sure. But what about the big players? The institutional investors, what are they doing?
That's interesting because institutional ownership has actually been decreasing.
Oh, so they're getting out.
Typically, that's not a great sign. It means big investors are losing confidence. However, at the same time, short interest in the stock has also dropped significantly.
So fewer people are betting against the company. Isn't that a good thing?
It could be, but it could also just indicate a lack of conviction either way. Like the market's just not sure what to make of MicroAlgo and is taking a wait-and-see approach. Ultimately, they need to show they can translate that 99% quicken efficiency into actual profits, not just headlines.
Right. Results matter.
Absolutely.
Okay, so the market's a bit hesitant to say the least. But who's really calling the shots at MicroAlgo? Because it doesn't sound like they're totally in control of their own destiny.
You're right to point that out. Chapter 5 delves into their ownership structure, and this is where things get a bit complicated. Remember how we mentioned Weeme Hologram Cloud owns a majority stake?
Yeah, 58% if I remember correctly. That's a pretty hefty chunk.
Exactly. That level of ownership gives Weeme significant influence over MicroAlgo's strategic decisions. And those interests might not always align with what's best for other investors.
You're saying there's a potential conflict of interest there?
Yeah.
That MicroAlgo might be making decisions to benefit Weeme rather than their own bottom line.
It's definitely a possibility. And when you combine that with the low institutional ownership, only about 7% compared to a sector average of 45%,
Right.
it paints a bit of a concerning picture.
Yeah.
It suggests that larger investors might be hesitant to jump in because of those ownership concerns.
So maybe the market's not just uncertain about MicroAlgo's technology, but also about their ability to act independently. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've covered their business, their management, their financials, market sentiment, and ownership structure. Where does this all leave us? What's the big picture takeaway?
Well, Chapter 6 brings it all together with a SWOT analysis. This breaks down their strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats.
Okay, so strengths. What are they doing well?
Without a doubt, their hybrid algorithm technology is cutting edge. That 99% qubit efficiency we talked about earlier, it's a real differentiator.
Yeah.
And their focus on quantum optimization is strategically smart considering the potential of that market.
Well, weaknesses. I think we've uncovered a few of those already.
Yeah, the elephant in the room is their negative profitability. They're simply not making money right now. And their heavy reliance on Weeme Hologram Cloud is a double-edged sword. It provides stability, but it also limits their independence.
Okay, so opportunities. Where could they really shine if they play their cards right?
The quantum computing market is projected to explode in the coming years, reaching upwards of $450 billion by 2030. If they can overcome their financial hurdles and establish themselves as a leader, the potential for growth is enormous.
Huge.
Strategic partnerships with hardware vendors could also be a game changer, allowing them to leverage their algorithms on a larger scale.
Okay, and threats.
Mm-hmm.
What can really derail them?
Well, with great opportunity comes great threats. And MicroAlgo faces some pretty stiff competition. IBM, Google, Microsoft.
Right, big guys.
These are the big dogs in the quantum computing world, and they have vastly more resources.
Yeah, they've got deep pockets.
And let's not forget the regulatory challenges they face in China, particularly concerning data security and export controls. Those could throw a wrench in their plans.
So Chapter 7. The verdict is MicroAlgo a speculative leap or a value trap?
If you're a conservative investor looking for safe, steady returns, MicroAlgo is probably not for you right now. Their financials just aren't there yet.
There's got to be a but.
But if you're willing to take on more risk,
Okay.
if you believe in the disruptive potential of quantum computing, and if you're prepared to monitor their progress very closely, MicroAlgo could be an intriguing watch list candidate.
So not a buy or sell recommendation, but definitely a company worth keeping an eye on.
Precisely. And speaking of keeping an eye on things, remember that surprising connection we teased earlier, the one that could potentially change everything for MicroAlgo.
Oh, yeah. You can't leave us hanging. What is it?
Well, recent whispers suggest that Weeme Hologram Cloud might be considering a spin-off of MicroAlgo if that happens.
Wait, you're saying MicroAlgo could become an independent company, free from Weeme's influence?
That's the speculation. And if they can successfully navigate that transition, it could unlock their full potential, freeing them from the constraints of being under Weeme's control.
So this spin-off could be the catalyst that finally pushes MicroAlgo into profitability, the moment they finally live up to all that quantum hype.
It's certainly possible, but it's also a risky gamble. A lot can go wrong in a spinoff. It's a whole new layer of complexity to their story, and it's something we'll be watching very closely in the months ahead.
This is why I love these deep dives.
Yeah.
You never know what twists and turns you're going to encounter.
Indeed. And it's a reminder that investing is about more than just numbers on a balance sheet. It's about understanding the narratives, the potential, and yes, even the drama that unfolds behind the scenes.
So what should you, dear listener, be doing with this information?
Well, first and foremost, remember that everything we discuss here is for informational purposes only. We are not financial advisors, and this is not investment advice. Our research is AI-powered, and while we strive for accuracy, it's crucial to do your own due diligence before making any investment decisions.
Absolutely. Think of this deep dive as a starting point for your own exploration. Head over to the comments section and let us know what stood out to you the most. What are your thoughts on MicroAlgo's technology? Do you think they could overcome those financial hurdles? And what about that potential spinoff? Good news or bad news?
We love hearing your perspectives, so don't be shy. And hey, if you've got any stock suggestions for future deep dives, drop those in the comments too. You're always on the lookout for new companies to investigate.
But for now, the mystery of MicroAlgo continues. Will they become the quantum powerhouse they aspire to be, or will they succumb to the pressures of the market? Only time will tell.
And we'll be here to guide you through every twist and turn.
That's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this wild ride through the world of quantum computing and high finance. Be sure to subscribe to the Stock Analytics AI YouTube channel for more deep dives into the companies shaping the future.